Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another video. It is the Empowered Educator here, and I'm so grateful to be back with another hot one for you all today. The topic of this video is 7 of the best academic instructional strategies and routines that teachers can have in place to promote academic learning for those students in trauma. And before I actually delve into this video, I want to encourage everyone to subscribe to this channel. And I also want to thank those of you who are new, those of you who are new to watching, and those of you who are new to Empowered Educator LLC. My name is Janine Hogan, and I am a local educator here in Louisville, Kentucky. And I actually teach in a school where, it's a trauma-informed school. So we have a lot of children who have diverse needs within that learning space. And I have felt like it is my duty to ensure that I serve our children to the best of our abilities. And now I am utilizing skills and tools and strategies that I know have worked in the past for me and sharing them with others that need it. All right. So I am based more so in public education, specifically at the elementary level. But all these routines and strategies work. They work. I've seen them work. And that's why I am sharing them with you all today. So again, subscribe, and share this content amongst your colleagues or anyone that you know might benefit from this great information. Okay, I am losing some daylight here. I love to sit by the window and just gaze out into the beautiful nature that God has created. But I'm losing sunlight, so I did go and get my light so that you all can still see my presence. For those of you that are new, I am going to go ahead and give you all a rundown of what the mission, vision, and values of Empowered Educator LLC are, okay? So the mission is to empower priority school educators, children, and families through culturally responsive instructional practices that promote marginalized student academic achievement and promote positive behavior outcomes. The vision is to empower and educate the whole child, as well as their caregivers and teachers, through culturally responsive instructional practices and routines. And as always, our values are to teach a mind, to touch a heart, and to change a life. And we know that through each of these components that we are indeed making a difference in the lives that we wish to see in this world, okay? So, without further ado, I am going to go ahead and introduce those different routines and instructional strategies that you can utilize in your learning space that will promote positive academic outcome as well as positive behavior needs, okay? And the very first thing that I have found that works best inside of the classroom is chunking, okay? Chunking is so powerful to children in trauma. And I went on Google and I said, well, let me find a definition that kind of holistically defines what chunking is, all right? And chunking is basically a procedure of breaking up reading material into manageable sections. It's not always necessarily reading material, okay? You can use this across different content areas that will work with your students, all right? And I love chunking. I chunk my lesson plans. I chunk my spelling words. I chunk them up into sections that I know my students will be able to digest and utilize for long-term learning in the end, okay? And I do like that definition when it says manageable, okay? Then when you think about students in trauma, you got to think about the invisible backpacks that they bring with them, of things that we don't see that they have to carry throughout the school day, okay? There are some children that come into learning space that did not eat breakfast that morning or do not have food at home. There are some children that might come inside the learning space that had to deal with a domestic issue before they got on the school bus. There might be students that are, having domestic issues on the school bus. There's a lot of different things that students counter before they arrive inside of our classrooms. And what we need to understand as educators is that we are the facilitators in the rooms that help students feel comfortable and assured in whatever things they might be going through throughout their school day or throughout their life. You are one of the most trusted adults that they have inside of their life right now. So we have to prioritize their needs at all times, all right? But when we chunk our lessons, what we do is we create an opportunity for students to receive the teaching or the education that they are trying to receive. All right. That's why we break up units. Okay. That's why we create lessons and break up our units into lessons. We want to make sure that they are broken up into parts where students um, are able to recall information, where they're able to synthesize that information, where they're able to apply what they've learned to their real life experiences. Okay, and I actually have some notes here about what research has said about chunking your lessons. And research says that benefits of chunking your lessons, it helps students organize and synthesize information better. It helps them develop a stronger ability to paraphrase, and that's something I've seen. Actually, I work in a first grade classroom right now, and I'm telling you, I have 7 6 year olds paraphrasing what they have learned because I've chunked the lesson or the content that we are learning about, and they're able to quickly recall that information. In fact, it's gone so above and beyond that I have students paraphrasing when we do turn and talk or other systems of communication and learning space. They're able to share with me something that they learned from someone else. That's how powerful paraphrasing is. Okay. They're also able to explain what they've learned from the lesson to share, with others. So paraphrasing is very powerful. It also helps students promote their vocabulary. We do a lot of Freyer models inside of the classroom. If you're not familiar with a Freyer model, it's a vocabulary breakdown that helps students understand what what a vocabulary word is and a definition. Excuse me. But it helps them identify keywords. It helps them identify ideas. It helps them identify antonyms. It helps them identify synonyms. It helps them think of a non-linguistic way of representing whatever term that we are defining. Okay, so when you are able to chunk your lessons, it becomes more meaningful to the learner that is learning about them, right? And there's so many different instructional routines that you can embed when you are teaching about a topic. There's role playing. Kids love to role play. I know, some people will say, "Oh, that's kiddie stuff," but in an elementary classroom, we're still developing, so it's still very much development. Excuse me, it's still very much developmentally appropriate at that age. Really, role playing is something that we do throughout our life. That's what actors and actresses get paid for, right? Um, but role playing is very powerful. Again, utilizing some type of vocabulary model where students can actually define a word. Also, playing a four corners game or doing some type of instructional game that helps students learn. Those are different systems that really help um, um, teach students the content that they are learning about. So chunking is number one because it is one of the most powerful tools that I have utilized in the learning space when it comes to helping students that experience trauma learn inside of the classroom. Okay. Number two is repetition. This one's huge as well, okay? It is an essential learning aid. It's essential learning aid. I want you all to just take in those 4 words, an essential learning aid, okay? That supports retention and memory for long-term needs. For a lot of times when I see students in trauma, some of them might have some type of intellectual disability, but sometimes it's just, I have a hard time remembering because I have 10 other things that I have to remember before I come to school or when I get home every day. I might have to remember what my transportation arrangements are. I might have to remember to make sure that my sister has clothes laid out for school tomorrow. There's so much that children in trauma have to, put on themselves when it comes to holding themselves accountable for their life and the lifestyles that they are living. But when we are able to actually provide as educators the material that they need to learn, the material that they need to remember, what happens is we support that long-term learning. They're able to retain. So retention is no longer an issue when the teacher is literally serving me the things that I need to be successful. And there's lots of different ways you can maintain retention inside of your learning space. You can embed that through your instructional routines in the classroom. For example, if your professional growth goal is to have students do more collaboration or communication inside of the classroom, you might say that I'm going to work on turn and talk, or I'm going to work on think, pair, share, or I'm going to work on just doing different partner activities with students or partner systems with students. What you can do is make sure that they have that expectation, or you set that expectation high when it comes to when it comes to partner work, by creating a poster where this is what it looks like, sounds like, and feels like. And you continue to go back to that every time they're about to do partner work. And then now it's instilled inside of learners, because every time before you let them go and do partner work, you go over what the expectations are. They feel set up for success. Also, you can see repetition in your rules. Okay, the rules are really important, especially for those in trauma. I go over the rules twice a day with my students. I go over the rules in the morning, and I go over the rules again in the afternoon, because it's important that we understand what our mission, vision, and values here within our learning space are, so that we can ensure that we are modeling what those needs are inside of the learning space, especially when we have special guests inside of our building. Okay. Also, you can have a repetition when it comes to how you manage your leadership positions in the classroom. I don't call them classroom jobs. I call them leadership positions, because I want my students to see themselves as leaders within the learning space. Okay. Maybe you change jobs every month. Maybe you change jobs every week. However you want to do it, you want to make sure that that system has some type of repetition to it, so students have an idea of what's expected when those change. Number 3, the way you operate your power zone. Ooh, you all, in an elementary classroom, the carpet space is the most intimate and conducive space for learning. I have a whole video about the power zone in being the carpet space in your elementary school classroom. Now, if you are someone that does not have a carpet in your classroom, and you feel like that's just something that's against your teaching philosophy, and you have a lot of behavior in your room going on, I would ask myself if maybe I need to change the way my environment is set up, so students can have an opportunity to be on the floor. I love the carpet space. It's my favorite space for learning. I rarely have kids sit at tables and do work. The carpet space is the space where I get the most of my teaching done. And I feel like most of the retention is gained is in that learning space. I have a whole video. If you all have not seen that video, I'll link it down below. The power zone is the carpet. And there's several reasons why the carpet is so powerful in the learning space. That's literally the teacher power zone. I don't do a lot at tables. I find tables and desks to be very distracting. But when I'm on the floor with my students, we are on a roll, we are on a ball. And I just find engagement so much more different than when students are at tables. I feel like I'm trying to pull them in or get them to buy into my teaching when they're at their tables. But when we're on the floor, it's like, we're all together. We're all here. We're all connected. There's just that higher level of engagement and learning when we're in that power zone. So if you don't have a carpet space, I highly recommend you do so. They also have those little sitting desks that are available now, and the students love those. I highly recommend you get some of those in your classroom too. All right, tight structures. Tight structures, this is big. This is big. And this is big because this is the way you think about how your classroom is run, okay? Are there opportunities for play and learning or play in learning, okay? If you have too much idle time, it even says in the Bible, it talks about how idle time is not good for those that are, practice or followers or believers of Christ, right? Idle time just makes for, problems or areas for conflict to arise. You don't want to have any idle time whatsoever in your learning space, okay? Idle time just creates an event for something dramatic or something problematic to happen. You want to make sure that your day is going by boom, 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 okay? From the time kids come into the classroom, from the time they are packing up and leaving, you want to make sure you have something put in place where there is no idle time for foolishness to go on whatsoever. And that is literally the way that I have my classroom set up. I might be going over the schedule in the morning. I might be going over a project that students are working on. There's timers that are set to ensure that students see the visual in the amount of time that they have to complete an activity. However, whatever way, that you want to do it, you want to make sure there are tight structures in place, okay, and tight routines in place, so that way there's no idle time in your classroom where behavior incidents can occur, because then we're not focused on learning. We're focused on what he said or she said, or what he did and what she did. Okay, tight structures are imperative for students in trauma. Number 5 is to stay positive. Your positive to negative interaction and ratio between your students should be imbalanced. And when I say that, I don't mean there should be more negative statements going on than positive statements. It should look very much like everything that really comes out of the teacher's mouth is all positive, okay? And you can promote positivity through compliments, through positive reinforcement, and through student models, okay? Make your students feel proud of what they're doing. Oh, I like how Sarah came in the room and she got out her folder and she started to do her morning work. Oh, I like the way that Sam came inside the classroom and sat crisscross applesauce on the floor. I like the way that so-and-so is standing in line. They're not touching all over stuff. Their hands are to themselves. They're showing discipline. You want to really make your students feel proud, but that's what they want to do. They want to please the teacher. They want to please you. So make them work for it, okay? Make them work for it. Compliment them when you see them doing the right thing. You don't want to use all of your time, saying, oh, well, so-and-so is putting their hands on so-and-so, or you need to sit down and be quiet, or you need to put your stuff up. When you start doing stuff like that, then what happens is it's like the kids feel that energy and they want to incite that fire, right? Well, she's getting on him about doing this, so let me do something next. When you promote positive energy and you promote positive communication, what happens is kids start to want to seek that more versus the negative interactions that you are speaking on. So stay positive at all times. Stay positive, even if it hurts, okay? The more that I know there are some times where we're just like, oh, I just want to get on this kid because they won't sit down in their seat. Just stay positive, stay positive. And compliment the ones that are doing the right thing, even the one that might be doing something they shouldn't be doing. If they're still doing something half right, you can still say, oh, I like the way so-and-so is sitting in their chair, even though they should be sitting on the floor. With us, they're still sitting, they're still staying in their area, and they're still learning. So always stay focused on the positive inside of the classroom, okay? And number 6, inviting space. Is your classroom kid and family friendly? Is it colorful and comfortable? Does it promote a strong sense of student belonging? You definitely want to make sure that you have a classroom that is conducive to learning. You want to have student work hanging on the walls. I'm not talking about anchor charts. Anchor charts is one thing. I'm talking about actual student assignments that are just glowing around the room. I'm going to have to do a video on that too. I'm going to have to do a video on my classroom so you all can see what an inviting space looks like. And I'm not saying that to gloat about myself. I'm just saying that because my students feel like they're home away from home, and your classroom should feel very much the same. You should have a library area. You should have a space where there can be learning on the floor. There should be space where students can learn at their tables or their desks. There should be space where students can take a break. There should be space where students have their own space where they can put their classwork. There should be a space where things go home to students. There just needs to be organization and structure within your classroom. It needs to be inviting, okay? And if your classroom does not have those things, then you need to go back and create your floor plan so that it is. Students should feel like they belong inside of the classroom, because it is Miss Hogan's room, but these are the students that are also taking up that space. So they should also feel like they have a sense of belonging, a sense of ownership within that classroom, okay? And even they can invite their ideas. How do you think we can make this classroom more homey for you? Or, just add to it throughout the school year. My students always give me ideas, and I'm always receptive to the ideas that they offer, because they're leaders in the classroom too. And then number 7 is ownership, okay? What opportunities do you provide for students to feel like they have ownership in your classroom? Oh my gosh, In my classroom, I literally feel like I am just the person, the adult that's in the space. Now, I do teach the lessons, but the students overall are running the classroom. There are students that, go over the mission. There are students that go over the pledge. There are students that go over the morning announcements. There are students that go over calendar. Literally, I teach students to respect themselves and each other and respect, I am the adult in the classroom, yes, but you all are the ultimate leaders inside the classroom. That's what we're building up. We're promoting leadership within our children. The children will go up to the front of the board, they'll speak, and I always encourage teamwork by giving that person attention, making sure our eyes are on the speaker at all times. Making sure that we have control within our bodies so we can give that person respect. I have students that have, purposeful leadership positions. Some of my favorite leadership positions in the classroom consist of being the classroom secretary, answering the phone, also dojo patrol. I gotta do a video on class dojo because I gotta teach you the way that we utilize it in the classroom. It's the most effective classroom management system that I have found to work with students in trauma. And again, I want to share that information with you all because it's systems that work. These aren't things that you're going to find in a textbook yet, but they are things that are practical and things that work inside of classrooms, especially those with students that have high energy. So ownership. What are opportunities that you provide for students to feel like they have leadership in your classroom? Okay. So those are my 7 basic strategies. It's nothing in depth. It's nothing too hard to do. It's just a sense of, getting ourselves in the action to make something unnatural natural. And if you are someone that's actually interested in doing more one-on-one coaching with me or even a small group session, I highly recommend you look out. You reach out to me. There's my email. There's also my phone number and then my Facebook page. I also have a link tree that's linked down below. And then there are just some different culturally responsive education services that I offer. And then also I have programs and products available for students in grades K through 5. And I need to do another video too about the power of student self-care kits because this is going to be the next big thing that goes across the globe. Our student self-care kits. Our kids need a tool or something that they can use inside the classroom when they are overwhelmed and they just need a break. And I am so glad to be a developer in this effort because it's bigger than just a fidget box or it's bigger than just fidgets. It's something that's personalized to the learner and what they need. So if you're someone that needs support, reach out to me. I'm certified in grades K through 5 in elementary education. And then I also have a master's degree in teacher leadership and a certificate in diversity literacy. And you all, at the end of this presentation, you know what our homework is. We're going to go out there. We're going to make a difference by setting that goal and making it happen. I am the Empowered Educator. You all be looking out for my website coming here soon. I'm so excited about that launch. It's like finally new year, new beginnings, new things. And I'm just so excited for everything that is manifesting in this business and more that's to come. Like, subscribe, and share this content, please. And again, thank you so much for your time and your attention. Good day.